What's going on, guys? It's Chandler here with the channel. Come back to you again today with another video. As you can see, in a little bit of a different environment than what I'm previously used to. Of course, I did just get moved, and I kind of wanted to go through a video and explain the process of what I went through for moving firearms. I know a lot of people here on the channel are new shooters and may have never had to experience this before, so I figured it'd be a good video to go through. Let's check it out. Okay, now obviously again a disclaimer, as we will put forth in a lot of these videos. This video may not be for everybody. However, again, like I've said in the past, with a huge influx of new shooters that we've had in the past couple of years, I feel like these kind of information videos are pretty important to go through, as some people may have not experienced this with firearms before. Now, it's not really a big deal moving with firearms. However, depending on what state you're in and what state you're going through, it could be. So in this video, we'll be going over what to expect and how to prepare for moving with your firearms, or even just traveling for that matter. We'll cover this in two parts: the packing and the transporting itself that's really involved in moving, and this may also be different depending on how many firearms you have or what type of firearms you have. I'll put this under a general umbrella. If you have any ATF form firearms, like if you have any SBR, short-barreled shotguns, you do have to let them know you are moving, but that's something we won't go into in a video today, but hope to in the future. When you're transporting your firearms or moving your firearms, first thing you want to go through is packing them. Unless you're carrying your firearm, when you're packing it and transporting it, you want to make sure that that firearm is stored or stowed without any ammunition and out of reach. Now, this packaging can be anything, whether it be the original box of the firearm, a dedicated gun sleeve, a gun case, a gun bag. Big thing is, if you can, make sure that your firearm isn't just sitting out in the open. At the minimum, what you can use is a sleeve type here, but obviously it's a little less conspicuous than just having it out. Better than that, which is how I normally carry mine, is obviously, of course, a good hard case. This is a pretty cheap case. I think that one was one I bought at when I first got into firearms, and I think it was only like $10 or $15. And of course, if you can upgrade them and go as crazy as you want with them, but a good case goes a long way with travel, and it makes it a lot easier to handle. Now, saying that the packaging is a suggestion on my end when it comes to transporting firearms, that's if you're doing it yourself. However, if you're having a moving company or something transport firearms, or a firearms collection a long distance away, then you're required to have them packaged in certain ways, which are set forth by them. And obviously, just like when you're cleaning, you want to have your ammunition and your firearms stored separately. That way you don't get in any legal trouble either if you're pulled over. That is, unless you are carrying that weapon. But carrying and transporting are two different things. We'll get into it. In my personal opinion, if you can, obviously when moving firearms, you want to do it yourself. In some cases, this might not be possible or the case if you're moving a huge collection, long distances, for example, and you have to hire a moving company. Then that is a different story. In my experience, and this is something that I've always done, when moving, I always do the firearm portion myself. Now, I've never actually hired professional movers to help me move. However, even when having friends and family help move, I always take the firearms, ammunition, everything separate beforehand, so that way there's no confusion and nobody has to handle them anyway. That way I am in full control when transporting my firearms, and there's no risk whatsoever of having other people liable for anything. However, like I said, sometimes you don't have that luxury and you may be moving a long distance where you have to have your vehicle shipped and things like that. So if you have a firearms collection shipped over road, via airline, what have you, there are special precautions you have to take. For this video, we're only going to go into detail on over road. So the big thing is, if you use a moving company and you are going to have them transport your firearms or a collection of firearms or what have you, you have to be transparent with them. That liability is then back on them, and they may have certain ways that they want you to pack them or things like that. And not only that, they may have ways that they recommend packing them, and that way it might save some headache on your end if you're not sure how. Oftentimes you can use the case method we discussed earlier. However, I have read articles where I've seen that some moving companies prefer if you put them in a box that's, slightly larger than the firearm, and then, you know, wrapping it in bubble wrap and then packing peanuts and the whole deal to make sure that obviously it's safe and make sure they're safe handling it and there's no risk of it being damaged or otherwise. And another thing to note on the moving company is moving companies cannot legally transport ammunition. This is because, and it's very similar to you see on the side of the road when you see trucks with the hazard markers on the sides that give it a class of hazardous material, whether that be explosive, corrosion, etc. You've seen them before, you just may not know that you have. Ammunition falls into this category, and they do not have a license to carry that commercially. So since they are a commercial vehicle, they do fall under that and have to be very careful. You have to transport or ship that yourself. Now, oftentimes this may not be a big deal. However, you can ship ammunition if you need to, as many businesses do ship ammunition from online retailers anyway. Now that you've got everything packed and you're ready to go, you have to go into the more complicated part of the moving process, and that is actually traveling with your firearms. When you're traveling, it boils down into carrying or transporting. We'll go over transporting first, and then we'll tell you the difference of carrying afterwards. So when transporting firearms, it is legal to go from state to state as long as you are transporting, not carrying. You'd think it'd mean the same thing, but it doesn't. Transporting firearms is protected by the Firearms Owners Protection Act. And I'll read it straight from the computer, that way I don't mess anything up. Under the Firearm Owners Protection Act, a person is entitled to transport a firearm from any place where he or she may lawfully possess and or carry such firearm to any other place where he or she may lawfully possess and carry it, if the firearm is unloaded and locked out of reach. If you're traveling through states that may not have the same firearm laws as your originating state does, under the Firearm Owners Protection Act, as long as that firearm is, as we mentioned earlier, stored in a case and locked out of reach, this is very important, out of reach and inaccessible, then it is legal. All in all, in summary, when traveling across the country or through states that may not have the same firearm laws as your originating state or your final state, those firearms must be stored, locked, and inaccessible to you while you're driving, or your passengers while you're driving. Now, the reason why this definition is so important, if a firearm is easily accessible to you, it is considered carrying it. Whether that is holster on your side, open carrying, appendix, concealed carrying, in a backpack, concealed carried, in a car, concealed carry, in a car, open carry. Any form of carrying, you must look for what state laws honor, and that's where it can get you in trouble. A good way to make sure you're covered in most scenarios is to have a concealed carry weapons permit. You can actually go online to usconcealedcarry.com. They can give you a map of the United States, and you can select your state, and it will show you which other states honor your home state's concealed carry license. Some do and some don't. It's very important to know when traveling, going on vacation, moving. This website can be a really good resource to look at to make sure that you are not breaking any laws when going through other states when you're carrying or transporting firearms. Now, each state law is different, so I'll just leave this here as a resource, and that way you have it if you need it. To go through all the details would take hours of video, so I'll leave that research to you. The best way to cover yourself in this scenario is to get a concealed carry weapons permit, and that way there really isn't any question when it comes to it if you've done your research. So with that is going to about do it for this video, guys. There are some very complicated laws when it comes to this. The big thing is, and the important thing is to please do your research. You don't want to be caught pulled over in a situation where you shouldn't be, and you want to be responsible with being a firearm owner and the image of fellow firearm owners. In the end, we are all in this together. We're all on the same side, and we just want to make sure that everybody is safe and responsible. Let us know what you think about this video in the comment section down below. Let us know if you want to see more videos like this, short little information videos. That way you can be yourself more prepared for scenarios you might not have thought about. If you have any other requests or ideas for videos, go ahead and leave those down below for us. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those down below, and we will get back to those as well. If you're a fan of us here on the channel, like what we're putting out, go ahead and like and subscribe. We really do appreciate it, and seeing those subscriber numbers climb really just motivates us to try to get more content out to you guys. As always, this has been Chandler with Range Day, where every day is Range Day. Stay safe and have a good one, guys.